In a world that never stops moving, we often forget the power of standing still and finding the true rhythm of our own inner peace today. The stillness of nature holds a secret, a quiet strength that survives the passage of time while everything else around it continues to rush and change. Have you ever wondered why a simple, silent rock can endure for thousands of years, watching the world pass by without losing its core or purpose? It does not scream for attention, yet it is the most powerful presence in the valley, a monument to the endurance and wisdom of silent existence. Our modern lives are filled with noise and constant motion, pulling us away from the quiet center where our true strength and clarity truly reside. To understand the secret of life, we must learn from the silent teachers of the earth, those who know that being still is not being empty. Two merchants were lost deep within the misty valley, their bodies weary from a long journey, and their minds clouded by the stress of their heavy burdens. They carried heavy loads of gold and precious jewels, believing that their wealth would protect them, yet it only served to make their path more difficult. Their hearts were heavy with greed, and every step they took was a battle against the weight of things they refused to let go of today. As the fog thickened, the trail disappeared, leaving them trapped in a gray world where direction had no meaning and fear began to take its hold. The more they hurried to find the exit, the deeper they sank into the labyrinth of the valley, their desperation growing with every frantic, heavy heartbeat. The small light they carried could barely pierce the gloom, and a reflection of their own fading hope as the sun began to set behind the mountains. Suddenly, the ground gave way, and one man fell, his cries echoing through the silence of the valley as his strength finally reached its breaking point. He lay there panting, realized that all his gold could not buy him a moment of breath or a clear path out of this cold, misty prison. Greed had driven them for years, but now, in the face of nature's vastness, they felt small, vulnerable, and completely lost within their own narrow ambitions. The valley seemed to close in on them, a silent witness to their struggle, offering no comfort to those who only knew how to take and rush. They were prisoners of their own haste, bound by the weight of their possessions and the relentless noise of their own anxious, wandering, and fearful minds. As the night deepened, they reached a giant rock that stood like a guardian by the path, its presence offering a strange sense of ancient stability. To one merchant, it was merely an obstacle, a giant stone blocking his path and forcing him to stop when he desperately wanted to keep moving. He screamed at the rock, blaming it for their misfortune, his anger a futile attempt to control a situation that was far beyond his limited human power. The other man, however, saw a sanctuary. He felt the rock's coolness and recognized that it was the only thing in the valley that wasn't moving. He stopped fighting the mist and the mountain, choosing instead to lean into the silence that the rock offered so freely to anyone willing to listen. Patience is not just waiting for the storm to pass. It is the art of staying calm and centered while the world around you is in chaos. He realized that the rock was not his enemy, but a teacher, showing him that there is a time to act and a time to be still. The silence of his friend was more powerful than his own screams, a quiet invitation to join him in the stillness of the deep, mysterious valley night. In that moment, the mountain wind seemed to whisper a truth that they had ignored for far too long. Strength comes from roots, not from speed. Every crack in the stone told a story of survival, of enduring the elements without complaint, simply existing in its own absolute and unwavering truth today. The rock became their anchor in the sea of mist, a silent companion that reminded them of the value of grounding oneself when the path is lost. This ancient stone has seen 1,000 winters and 1,000 springs, witnessing the rise and fall of civilizations without ever moving an inch from here. It does not race with the wind, nor does it argue with the rain. It simply accepts what comes, knowing that all storms eventually run out of rain. When the sun shines, it basks in the warmth. When the frost bites, it holds its breath. It is the ultimate master of the present moment. It understands that change is the only constant, and by remaining still, it becomes the axis upon which the seasons of the world slowly and surely turn. Men have fought wars beneath its shadow, and kings have been forgotten, But the rock remains, a silent witness to the fleeting nature of human ambition. It does not seek to be anything other than what it is. In its simple existence, it finds a perfection that no amount of gold can ever buy. Even in its hardness, it offers a home. It is a provider of life, a foundation for the small and the fragile to find their own place. The secret of its power is not its size, but its silence. In the quiet, it hears the heartbeat of the earth and the song of the stars. To be like the rock is to find the center of your soul, where the world's noise cannot reach and where your truth remains forever untouched. Born of fire and shaped by time, it carries the weight of the world with a grace that only those who are truly at peace can understand. It reminds us that we are not separate from the earth, but a part of its long, slow, and beautiful story of endurance and quiet transformation. Every morning it wakes to a new world, yet it remains the same, a constant reminder that our essence is deeper than our daily changing moods. The merchants began to see not just a stone, but a teacher of life, showing them the way out of their own mental and spiritual exhaustion. As the sun rose, the shadows of the night retreated, revealing a world that looked fresh and new to the eyes of the two awakened travelers. The heavy lines of greed had softened, replaced by a quiet clarity that comes only when one has faced their own fears and found peace. They realized that their hurry was their prison, a self-made cage of expectations and desires that had blinded them to the beauty of the journey. They left behind the things that weighed them down, realizing that the more they let go of, the more they actually gained in spirit and freedom. Kindness replaced competition, and the silence between them was no longer awkward, but filled with a deep, wordless understanding of their shared human path. Inner peace is the greatest treasure one can find, a wealth that cannot be stolen, and that only grows more valuable the more it is used. They thanked the silent stone for its protection and its wisdom, recognizing it as a true master who speaks without words and teaches through simple being. When the mind becomes quiet, the way forward becomes clear. The obstacles we see are often just reflections of our own inner turmoil and confusion. They walked with a new purpose, no longer chasing a destination, but savoring every step of the journey through the beautiful and wild mountain landscape. Quiet the mind, and the soul will finally speak its truth. They had found the voice they had been searching for in the silent heart of nature. The rock remained, waiting for the next traveler, who might be lost enough to stop and listen to the wisdom of the eternal and silent earth. The story of the merchants is our story, a reminder that we all carry burdens that we can choose to set down at any moment. The secret of the rock is simple. Silence is not an empty space. It is a reservoir full of the answers we seek in life. Stillness is the ground from which all creativity and wisdom grow. It is the ability to remain calm even when the world is rushing. To be steadfast is to know your own worth and to stand firm in your truth, regardless of the opinions or the pressures of others today. Endurance is not about suffering. It is about the strength to remain yourself through all the seasons of joy and all the seasons of pain. Wisdom is knowing that you don't always have to move forward to make progress. Sometimes, the most important step is the one that stays put. In your own life, find your rock. Find that place of stillness within you that no storm can shake, and no noise can ever truly disturb. When you are still, you can hear the universe. You can hear the guidance of your own heart and the wisdom of the world around you. We are like the rock, born of the same elements, capable of the same incredible endurance, and the same profound and beautiful silence in our lives. The world will continue to rush, but you don't have to. You can choose the pace of the rock and the peace of the valley. Be like the rock. Be still. Be steady. And you will find that the world comes to you with all the answers you ever needed. Thank you for listening to this story of the Misty Valley. May you find your own peace and carry it with you into the world. But remember that the silence is always there, waiting for you to return to it whenever the journey becomes too heavy or the path too loud. Goodbye for now. May your heart be light, your mind be clear, and your spirit be as firm and as peaceful as the ancient stone. Find your peace. The answers are already within you, waiting in the silence for the moment you decide to finally stop and simply listen. The secret is simple. Just be. The rest of the world will take care of itself while you remain in your own beautiful truth.